Are you tired of pouring all your time and resources into direct mail marketing campaigns only to see lackluster results? If any results at all these days. It's frustrating, isn't it? You send out a ton of mailings, but the leads just don't seem to come in. Well, you're not alone. I just covered this marketing challenge for a group of students in my Real Estate Investor Marketing Masterclass for 2023. And most people are experiencing the exact same thing. And unfortunately, they quit too soon before the magic happens. Or they just flat out run out of marketing dollars and they have to quit for that reason. But what if I told you there was a way to level the playing field between big budget real estate marketers and the small ones? That's right. If you are on a tight budget for marketing, you're gonna love this. The recent emergence of artificial intelligence has changed the game. When done right, AI can make a huge difference in the effectiveness of your marketing campaigns. It's not just about the size of your budget anymore. It's about being fast and efficient. And I'm gonna show you how to do it super fast. Like, you can deploy this super effective direct mail marketing campaign as soon as this video is over, and without breaking the bank too. All right, so as an expert in lead generation strategies for real estate agents and investors, I can tell you that consistent and persistent direct mail marketing, that's the way to go. This tried and true method, it has been proven to be the best and most reliable way to generate leads over time. However, the key to making it work is to stay committed and keep sending out your mailings even when the going gets tough. But the going is getting easier, and here's what I mean. Artificial intelligence is having a game-changing impact for real estate agents and investor marketing, and marketing as a whole overall. With AI, you can hang with the big dogs and even gain a competitive edge in a matter of seconds. A few months ago, I was consulting a small seasoned investor in New Jersey that was struggling to keep up with the larger competition in his market. He wasn't sure if he was being outsmarted or outmatched. So I introduced them to the power of AI in their marketing efforts, and it was like a switch was flipped. They were able to gather and analyze data at lightning speed and place compelling personalized messages in front of distressed sellers that has now given them an edge in their market that they never thought was possible. So if you're on a budget or have almost $0 for marketing, this is going to be just for you. Historically, the advice for someone like that in that type of situation is to pull a hyper-targeted list by stacking multiple layers of distress. So like an absentee owner list of vacant houses that are behind on their mortgage payments and have a tax lien on the property. In most markets, that's going to give you a nice, small, and manageable list. And the logic would suggest that it should be a highly motivated one at that, a highly responsive one, which it should be. But the response rate of your marketing to this list isn't much better than marketing to a big, broad mailing list. And here's why. You see, your absentee owners of vacant houses that are behind on their mortgage payments and they have a tax lien, that list is also on the same mailing list of the big marketers that are sending broad campaigns to just absentee owners, or they're sending broad campaigns to just vacant houses, or to just pre-foreclosures, or to just tax lien properties. And the reason your response rate is so low is that you're all sending very similar marketing pieces, if not the exact same ones. The sellers can't see you. An average property owner is receiving 12 solicitations or propositions per month from agents and investors. So the key to standing out from the crowd is to differentiate yourself and your marketing pieces. So that hyper-targeted list, it just isn't enough. I mean, it's essential, but it alone isn't enough. So with this list, you must make a genuine connection with the homeowner and providing them with a solution to their unique situation. In my experience, and especially in my most recent experience, a more personalized approach to marketing can yield incredible results. By taking the time to understand the homeowner's situation and tailoring your message to meet their specific needs, you can make a lasting impression and build a relationship of trust right through the mail. You see, when a seller feels seen and heard and understood, they are much more likely to choose you over the competition. So don't just rely on your targeted list. Focus on creating a unique and authentic message that speaks to the heart of the homeowner's needs. And I know that sounds like a lot of work, doesn't it? Well, it used to be, but it's not now though. It can all happen for you in just a matter of minutes. And I'm going to go ahead and use my 5 commandments of direct mail to demonstrate. And I think it's going to make the most sense if I just work backwards and start with commandment number 5. And that's to get action. Number 4 is to get read. Number 3 is to get opened. 2 is to get noticed. And 1 is to get delivered. So let's start there with get delivered. All right. And that's to the right person is what I mean. Obviously, we want to get delivered, but we want to make sure that we're getting delivered to the right person. So you're on the right track by sending a hyper-targeted list to our absentee owners of vacant houses that are behind on a mortgage payment and that have a tax lien. And there are a number of services from where you can get this list from. It's pretty easy these days. And I subscribe to a bunch of them. But my go-to these days is Deal Engineer. And let me show you why. I'm just going to do a broad general search of the whole city. That's going to give us how many properties? 497,000 properties, a little over almost 500,000. Now I want to start reducing this list down to a size that I can manage financially. What is my budget going to allow me to market to consistently with persistence over the next 5 or 6 months? That's what I really want to plan out for. So maybe you can handle 1,000 properties and do that over the next 6 months. Maybe it's 500. Maybe it's 200, maybe it's 5, maybe it's 10. But if we're going to do 10, let's make that 10 really, really impactful. So we'll start with a traditional starting point would be your landlords, your absentee owners. And the reason being is operating under the assumption that a lot of people either they're tired of being a landlord or they don't want to be a landlord, or, if the offer was right, the situation was right, they'd have no problem walking away and selling the property. So that's just kind of the starting point. You don't have to start there, and it doesn't mean they're going to be motivated, but that's the logic. So now we're looking at 183,000. So we eliminated about 60% of the entire market by going just for absentee owners. Now let's look at the absentee owners that live out of state. They're being landlords from a distance. That can come with certain frustrations potentially. And so we go ahead and we can just look at that. It's actually right here under more, come down to the bottom. I'm going to go out of state absentee owners. And that cut us up basically in half again. So now we're at 94,000. And that could be a really good list to start marketing to. A lot of people do that, but let's say our budget won't allow us to do that. So now we're going to make this a little bit smaller. So now we kind of isolated the circumstance or the situation. We have an absentee owner that lives out of state from where their property is. Now let's look at something that could potentially represent some sort of financial distress. So we're going to come over here to the liens, and I'm just going to look for tax government liens. Well, that took us down to 1,336. So that might have been our target area as far as what we can manage for a budget. And that could be a very good list to go ahead and market to. Now, if we needed a smaller list, say we needed a list of, say, 500. So how do we know which 500 are the ones that we really want to target? Now, we could go ahead and play with some additional factors. But once you get multiple factors, your list can get smaller really, really quickly. So if I've got this absentee owner that lives out of state and has a tax government lien, we've got 1,300 of those. Now, if I went and said, all right, so of those 1,300, which are also behind on their mortgage payment, that list could get small really quickly. I have no idea what it would look like, but there's a few ways that we can do this here. And I'll just go back over and we'll look at the last notice of default filing. So our last notice, let's say just in the last 6 months. Just like I thought, it took it down to 3. So that might not be how we want to go about it. There's another way we can go here. We just flat out look for who's in pre-foreclosure. So let's see what that does to our list. It's 12. That's still really small. The foreclosures, they're coming back for sure. There's a lot more of those out there, but a lot of them belong to the people that are living in their house. So not a lot of landlords are in pre-foreclosure at the moment. So I'm going to deselect that too. And so let's try a different approach. An advantage that Deal Engineer gives us is by incorporating artificial intelligence. So of these 1,300, how do we know which ones are potentially the most motivated? Well, what Deal Engineer does is right now we have analyzed all of the property data and those types of symptoms for distress. Like it's a landlord, they live out of state, it's got a tax government lien. Now what the artificial intelligence does is it goes now and looks at the people data. Like what's up with that person specifically, not just the property, because the property, that's public record and we can get access to that in a bunch of different places. But the people data, we can't. It's not so easily and readily available, and it's really not available when we can mash it all together to come up with a really nice list. So what Deal Engineer did is they went back and scanned 40 years of market data over, I think it's 1.5 billion marketing points. And they looked at the actual individuals. What was their credit score and what school system were they living in and what magazines do they read and what were their neighbors doing. The data gets really kind of intrusive once you start seeing what they're pulling. But what they do is they're looking for all these different common denominators of what was going on in a person's life, what was going on in the property's life, and put those things together. And those that actually came out and sold their property at some level of distress. And what Deal Engineer does is it gives each property a sellability score, kind of like a credit score. So it's between 0 and 1,000. And the higher the number, the more likely that property is going to sell. It's a higher propensity that property is going to sell in the next 90 days. So as you can see over here on the right, we have these scores, 889, 773, 866. Really anything over 500 is an indicator that that property is more likely to sell or has a higher propensity to sell. So the green is for retail. That's going to be for your real estate agents. The blue essentially is going to be for property managers. It has a high propensity to become a rental. But the purple one is the one that we really want to look at. This is the wholesale score. This is what us real estate investors that want to discount, this is the score we want to look at. So we can see we got 866. This property, that's probably going to sell here in the next 90 days. It's got a tax government lien, a tax delinquent tax activity, and it's got high equity, and it's an absentee owner. As we scroll down, we can see 634, 536, 597, 600. Let's say we want to get this list down to 500 because we can manage a list of 500. I can come over here and filter out all of the scores, say below 500. Let's see what that does to my list. It took me to 1298. Didn't change it that much. So let's just go to 600. Okay, we're at 589. That's kind of good. Maybe that's right where we start. What if we did 650, 366? It kind of does it in groups, so it's not per the actual digits. So I did 625, and what does that do? 445. All right, so we like that list. So now we reduced that list of absentee owners that live out of state that have a tax government lien down to the 445 most likely to sell their property at a discount. So now I have a highly targeted list to deliver my direct mail to. Now we've got to get noticed and have the right message. But let's start with the message first, and then I'll show you how we're going to get noticed. So I want you to go to openai.com and create a free ChatGPT account. And then you're going to ask it to, 1, write a letter, a custom letter for you, to 2, the absentee owners of vacant houses that are behind on their mortgage payment and have a tax lien. But you just want to grab a list that has multiple challenges, and you're going to ask ChatGPT to write a letter directly addressing their challenges. Then number 3, you're going to include the benefits of selling to you. And then 4, you want to paint a picture of what life will look like after the situation is behind them. ChatGPT is going to do all of this for you. Alrighty, so let's write the letter. And what I've done is I've created my own prompt. They call it a prompt. That's the command that you're giving to the artificial intelligence. But I just copy and paste each time I need a letter written for a specific type of seller. So once you open up your account, your ChatGPT account, you'll go to a screen that looks like this. And right here is where you're going to type in your prompt or your command to tell the artificial intelligence what you want them to do. So in this instance, we want them to write a letter to all of these people that we found that are landlords. They live out of state from their property and they have a tax government lien attached to them. So what I've done is I have a pre-written prompt, and I'll show it to you right here. And I'm just going to copy and paste this every single time that I need a letter written. I'll just copy and paste it right in there. And so it's pretend to be a real estate investor who buys properties owned by. So now we're doing landlords. So we fill in what the actual problem is. So whatever your list is, this is where you're going to put their problems. Landlords who live out of state from where their property exists and has a government tax lien attached to the property. Okay. And then let's go ahead and I'll delete this here. All right. Then their property at whatever their property address is. So let's just say it's 123 Main Street, and I'll explain to you why. Let's do 123 Main Street. Let's do 321 Apple Street. How about that? And that's, say, Las Vegas. Okay. So, pretend to be a real estate investor who buys properties owned by landlords who live out of state from where their property exists and has a government tax lien attached to the property around their property at 321 Apple Street. So what I'm saying is I'm a real estate investor who buys properties like yours in this area. So write an emotional letter to this person relating with their potential anxieties and why they're likely saying and what they're likely saying to themselves about their situation, requesting that they consider selling their property to you because you can make it easy and convenient. You can pay cash, close fast, close for sure, keep the sale discreet and private, and there will be no commissions, fees, or repairs for the property required. Inform them that their name recently showed up on a list that you subscribe to, and it's not always accurate. Ask for their forgiveness if your data is wrong. If the data is correct, let them know you see their situation frequently and it's perfectly normal. So what we're doing is, because we're going to get so specific on what their situation is, we want to almost ask for their forgiveness right up front in case we got it wrong. It lands a little bit nicer if you do, and it lands a little nicer even if you got it right. And so what we also want to do is make them feel okay about their situation. A lot of people that we'll contact in these distress situations are feeling really embarrassed, and they're sad, and they feel like they're losers, and they're not on winning streaks at the moment, and life is not going good for them. And so by making them feel okay about their situation, say, hey, everybody just kind of goes through a rough patch, which is absolutely true. But a lot of times when you're in the mix, right, like that, you don't realize it yourself. So we just kind of remind them, and we'll make them feel okay. And then we want to mention that we live locally and we were in a similar situation not too long ago in a way that they'd feel more comfortable selling to us rather than the investors that are likely calling them on a daily basis. And then suggest what life could look like after their anxieties have been resolved, and the letter with a friendly, stressless call to action to call you at, and then you just put your phone number in here. All right, so we'll put 702-330-3030. Okay? And then just go ahead and hit write. And there it is. So I hope this letter finds you well. I understand that being a landlord can be tough, especially when you live out of state from your property. Dealing with tenants, maintenance, and unexpected expenses can be overwhelming, not to mention the added stress of having a government tax lien on your property. As a real estate investor, I see situations like yours all the time. I want you to know that it's perfectly normal to feel anxious and uncertain about your situation. You may be asking yourself if you'll ever be able to sell your property and move on from this chapter of your life. That's where I come in. I'm a local real estate investor who can offer you a hassle-free solution. I'll make the selling process easy and convenient for you, and I'll pay cash for your property. Plus, I can close quickly and for sure, so you don't have to worry about any last-minute surprises. And the best part, you won't have to deal with any commissions, fees, or repairs of your property. I recently came across your name on a list that I subscribe to, but I understand that these lists aren't always accurate. If my data is wrong, please forgive me. However, if my information is correct, I want you to know that I'm here to help. I live locally, and I was in a similar situation not too long ago, so I understand what you're going through. I know what it's like to receive multiple calls a day from other investors like me who are interested in making a profit, but I'm different. I want to help you resolve your anxieties and move on to the next chapter of your life. Imagine what life could look like once the situation is resolved. You have the freedom to focus on other areas of your life without added stress of being a long-distance landlord. You can use the money from the sale of your property to pay off debts, travel, or invest in something new. I want to make this process as stress-free as possible for you, so if you're interested in selling your property, please give me a call at 702-330-3030. I'm here to help. I'm looking forward to hearing from you. And then your name. And then let's say that you didn't like the way this sounded, or you're like, I think we could do better. Just hit regenerate response, and it'll write you another letter saying the exact same stuff, just in a different wording, and say, you know what? Didn't like that one either. Let's do this one. And it'll just keep on writing in a different way until you find one that you like. But what I do is I'll hit it 5 times, and now I have 5 individual letters that I can send out over the next 5 months that are all very personal and appeal to that person's needs. It addresses their challenges, and it very much speaks to the heart. So that's how you write these letters. And now I got 5 of them just like that. So now, how do we get noticed? That's easy too. It's going to cost a little bit more than a basic postcard, but you're dealing with such a small, hyper-targeted, hyper-motivated list, the investment is worth it. So these are different ways that you can get noticed. One is to use a colorful and eye-catching design that stands out from other mail that they receive. You can use an oversized mail piece that is larger than a standard letter to make it stand out. You can use an unusual shape or size that is unique and stands out from the mail. You can use an official looking envelope, like a FedEx envelope, or mark the envelope classified or mark it with an airmail stamp. You can use a 3D or lumpy mail piece that is bulky or has an irregular shape to stand out from other mail. Or you can use a unique and memorable mailing label or sticker that makes your mail piece stand out. And then to actually get read, all of these ideas still work. So you can use a personalized greeting that addresses the property owner by name, of which we did. You can speak to their specific challenge or circumstance, like you're talking directly to them, of which we did. And we can highlight the benefits of working with you, such as a fast and hassle-free selling process, of which we did that too. And you can use bold and underlined text to draw attention to important points. You can use bullet points to break up, long paragraphs and make make the text easier to read. Now, we didn't do that, but you can experiment with it. So these are just all basic pillars of direct response marketing. And you can use stories and statistics or personal pictures to pull them in. You want to keep your messages concise and to the point while still providing enough information to pique their interest. But what I'm having the most success with right now, which led me to getting this house recently with 10% down, and the seller, they carried back the balance with 0 interest, is using handwritten letters. And there are a number of services to do this, like ballpoint marketing. That's a really popular one with the real estate industry. But then there's handwritten, and there's thanks.io, and there's Thankster. And they all have these robots with arms and hands, and they put a pen in the hand, the robot's hand, and the robot goes ahead and it writes the letters for you. And it doesn't look like a font printed from your computer when it's all done, but like a letter written by a real human being. One of the nice things about Deal Engineer and why it's been so successful for us is they have those handwritten letters, that ability right here inside of the software. And we'll just go over here. We'll select all 445. We've added the leads to our list up here. Click on the button. We're going to click now, direct mail, and we're going to select this personally penned letter, and now it's going to send it to the robots, and they're going to write the letter that we just wrote right over here. So sending hyper-targeted mailing lists that are getting noticed and read, speaking directly to the property owner situation, is how you get results while managing the budget. And if you found that helpful, let me know by hitting the like button and subscribe to the channel. And then go put it to use, because now you got to do what you know to actually make a difference. So right now, I'm actually looking for 5 aspiring investors who are already marketing, they're already generating leads, they're already talking to sellers who really want to smash a big goal by the end of the year. And incorporating these types of marketing strategies and creatively financed deals can be a big part of your goal. So if that's you, to make it easy, I uploaded the details for you, and you'll see a link there in the description. And if not, that's okay too. But if you learned something, share with me in the comments what you actually learned. I want to know. And who else do you know that needs to see this? When their name comes to mind, please share it with them. Alrighty? Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Take care.